Okay, so the next part of Project 1 is going to be the graffiti project. You'll see in my Project 1 folder on my computer, I have two images. I have a brick wall and I have a picture of Channing Tatum. He's who I chose. You guys can pick whoever you like. I'm going to drag my brick wall and my picture of Channing Tatum into Photoshop. They both should be large images. It does not necessarily have to have a plain background. It does help your case a little bit. The next thing that I'd like for you to do is we're going to work with this brick wall here. I'm going to go to File, New. I'm going to title this Graffiti. I'm going to put Block 1. You guys are going to put Graffiti, and you're going to put your name. Yet again, we're going to use US paper, and I'm going to click OK. I'm going to then, because my brick wall is landscape, I'm going to change it, and I'm going to go to Image, Image Rotation, and 90 degrees. I'm then going to take this brick wall, and I'm going to use my Move tool and move it onto the correct background. I'm going to hit Command T to stretch it out, and because my brick wall is, let's be honest, a brick wall, I can stretch it a little bit further so it doesn't look so disproportionate. And click the check mark when I'm done. Why did I do that? I want to control the size of my image. So I'm going to get rid of my brick wall, and this is my project. I'm going to go back to my picture of Channing Tatum, and you guys are going to start to learn how to cut something out. So I'm going to cut him out, and the easiest way to do that is to go and use what's called your quick selection tool. It's about 4 or 5 tools down. You're going to click it, go to quick selection tool. Up here, there's a variety of different ways you can change the size. You're going to go to the plus. And I'm just going to start to select him. Now, sometimes the quick selection tool can get a little bit funny. It's okay that I have his shadow. I basically just want to get the overall shape of him. I have a little bit of white space. This does not have to be perfect, and we can fix that a little bit later. Remember, this is just your original, this is your first start with selecting objects in Photoshop, so that's okay. I'm going to hit Command C, and that Command C is going to copy. You'll notice I'm going to do it again. This is going to blink, so watch. Command C. Did you see my edit blink? That means it copied my image. I'm now going to go over here to my graffiti portion. I'm going to go Command V, and that's going to paste. So Command V. And up on our word wall, I do have those shortcuts for you so you can see them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move him over just a little bit, and I'm going to hit Command T. Command T is to make things bigger and smaller. You do not want to screw up Channing Tatum's proportions, so I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to make him a little bigger. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my quick selection tool, and I'm going to see if I can select parts of this background and get rid of them. I'm going to come over here to the minus and try to get rid of this, and I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to do that with some more of this background. I'm going to see if I can get his shadow. If I can't, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to come in here with my minus tool. You can also use your zoom tool, and I'll show you guys that in 1 second. I just want to get rid of this portion right here. I'm going to hit Command D, and Command D squashes the ants. Your zoom tool looks like a little magnifying glass. You can plus or minus it. Most of you probably have scrubby zoom selected. That's right here. I hate scrubby zoom, and I'll show you why, because if I'm trying to zoom in and zoom out, it just is not a fun feeling for me. I uncheck that. And what I can do is I can then put a square around what I really want to zoom in on. I'm going to zoom in right here so I can try to get rid of some of this. I'm going to go to my plus sign. Remember, you can make it bigger, smaller. I'm kind of liking this size that I have right now. Well, I was liking that size that I had right now. You see the ants that are kind of around him? To get rid of those ants, all you have to do is hit Command D. But I want to delete this first, and then I'm going to hit Command D, and I can get rid of that. You can see it kind of left a little bit of a line, but we're going to come in here with our eraser in a little bit, so it's not really that big of a deal. I just do not want to cut off half of his arm, because we like his arms. That won't be very nice if you do that, and it'll look really silly, and it won't look like a polished project. I'm going to see if I can get in here. If I can't, like I said, it's not a big deal. I can come back in with my eraser a little later. Actually, that worked out pretty nicely. Alright, so I'm going to hit my zoom tool again, and I'm going to go back to fit screen. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to take my eraser, which is right here. You're going to click and hold, and you just want eraser. You can make this bigger or smaller. We want a nice soft brush. This is a soft brush. This is a hard brush. We want a soft brush because we want this to really look like graffiti. I'm just going to get rid of this little line because it was bothering me. And in a minute, we're going to start softening up his edges and things like that. So I'm going to show you guys how to turn this to black and white. So the first thing I'm going to do, image, adjustments, and I'm going to go to levels. And this is actually a really good image, but I'm going to darken him up just a little bit. I'm going to bring out his lightness and darks. And we're going to see how that looks. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Threshold. And that's going to turn him into that black and white kind of image. Now there's a fine line between too much white space, because we're going to get rid of all that white space when we make it look like graffiti, and too dark of space. That actually doesn't look too bad for me. So I'm going to click OK. You guys can pick what you guys like, but I'm going to click OK. Alright. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, has everybody got that? Remember, image, adjustments. The first thing I do is my levels. The next thing I do is threshold, and that's what turns it to a black and white image. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a layer style. And styles are over here in your layers palette. I'm going to come up here to where it says normal. And we're going to use what's called multiply. And you'll see that gets rid of all of that wonderful white space. Now, this is the important part. You will lose points for yours if you do not go through and soften some edges. I do not want to see a floating body. I think it will look ridiculous. And if I do see a floating body, he should not have hard edges or be missing a hand. You can notice he's missing his hands. It looks horrible. So I'm going to take my eraser tool. I'm actually going to move him up a little bit. You can even tilt them. If you hit that Command T, you can kind of tilt the person if you really would like to. I'm actually going to do that just so I can get in here with my eraser and really soften some edges, just because we do not want him to look ridiculous. And remember, this is a graffiti type project. There shouldn't be really hard edges. You can nibble away at part of his hair or her hair, their arms and things like that, because as you know, graffiti ages, it's not going to look its best. Alright, so I'm happy with that, and the next thing I need to do with this layer is I need to come over here and go to opacity. I need to bring down his opacity. Why? It's graffiti. I do want to see the bricks. I want to see that he's transparent here. You'll lose points if you don't do that. I'm going to zoom in so you can really see that you can still see those bricks. If I come up here and I have my opacity at 100%, it just looks like a stencil on the wall. Okay, so you can lower it. It doesn't have to be extreme. But that's what my overall image will look like. The last portion to this project is to add some text. Text is at the T tool. It's just a giant T. You can go to horizontal, vertical. I'm just going to do a regular horizontal type. I want to find something that looks like graffiti. I have quite a few fonts on here that I personally downloaded just because I use this computer, but you guys can feel free to use whatever you'd like. We're not doing something in a wild color because graffiti should be black and white, and this image is going to be black. So I'm going to do something that matches, and I'm going to name this, I'm going to go Magic Mike, because that was his movie. And if I'm doing that with my font, I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger. Oops. I just added another text box. If you're using the text tool and you think you don't know what you did, check over in your layers palette. You see how I have a layer 3? If I turn it on and off, there's nothing on that layer, so just delete it. Hit the delete key. So I'm going to come back here and select Magic Mike, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I'm going to go bigger than that. We're going to type. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to move the font where I want. Remember, you don't have to have a specific font. It could be something that just looks like graffiti. I'm also going to take this layer, and I'm going to drop it down in opacity. And that is your final project. You are going to do 2 of these. You're going to do one with one with a famous person, which you're going to do with me, and then you're also doing a image of yourself. Okay, it can be an image that you have on your phone. It can be an image you have on your Facebook, your Instagram, that you screenshotted from Snapchat. Whatever you would like. You can also have one taken for you in class. So once you finish this, you're going to go to File. Remember, you're going to go to Save As. Remember, you keep it as this Photoshop document, and you make sure it's in your folder, Project. I'm in my Project 1 folder. I know this is my folder. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do this a second time. File, Save As. And then I'm going to change this document type to a JPEG and click Save. And then you are all finished.